Hey everybody, it's Wiz, and yeah, as you can see by the title of this video, it's a 600 subscriber special, and it's mostly in regards to this tournament 2 perfect timing. We got to 600 subs right when the tournament was at its conclusion, and again, I wanted to thank everybody for not just participating in the tournament, but also commenting on the videos, leaving positive reinforcements too. It's always very heartwarming for me as a quote-unquote content creator. Fucking cliche term. But just as a YouTuber to entertain you guys, and make you guys relax before you go to bed. You can escape from all your real world shit. So, but yeah, other than that, so just as a little disclaimer, I was going to. So immediately after the championship match, I actually recorded myself editing it live, but like a dumbass, I didn't add in the audio. For my microphone, nor did I add in the desktop audio, so you couldn't hear any sound effects as I was editing it. So I know it's a little awkward, but we're gonna do a simulation. We're just basically gonna edit the championship match again. We're gonna do it live. So let me actually head over to my desktop from OBS. And yeah, we're just actually gonna begin this shit live. Like I said, I'm just a little bit annoyed that I'm a little bit annoyed that I had the audio completely muted as I was editing it. So we're just going to do it live and pretend as if we didn't edit it to begin with. And I'll show you the general principles of how I went about editing all these matches. So the first things first, where my cursor is, we're going to go to Adobe Premiere Pro CS6. This is the final version, final Creative Suite before they went on to the Creative Cloud where you had subscriptions and whatnot. So as you can see by the projects, I already completed the championship, but we're going to do it again, just because I want to show you the step-by-step process of how I go about editing. So, yeah, I'm going to have to just title this test, just for the fuck of it. That's just going to be basically the name of the project folder, and then the sequence name is going to be the name of the video. So, yeah, we're going to do that. And now from here, we're just going to import all of our files, basically. Importing like all the video feeds, all the intros, etc. So we're actually going to go there, and for all intents and purposes, the full video length itself, I always entitle it raw. So like, oh, that's the entire hour's worth of footage, and maybe you chop it down by 20 minutes or something. But obviously this is a 23-minute thing, and then this right here, the final version, is a little bit longer, but that's okay because I have the 6-second intro. But alas. We're going to open up the raw file and basically just import all of our shit into this thread. So this is basically the first step, when I actually record the matches, is that I try to go about getting all the appropriate files. The first 6-second clip, I'm just going to drag into the timeline right here. I'm going to change the sequence settings so that they match the clip themselves. I'm going to zoom in by just, holding down left click and dragging this to the right to zoom into the mouse. And then I'm going to augment the volume by about 1 decibel. I've been using kind of like, I wouldn't say standards, but I just follow a thing to like, how do I say it? I try to be consistent with like volume levels so that they are not like, I don't want this to be 6 decibels loud and then, in the next video it's 3 decibels loud. I try to be consistent in that front. So if I get to 1.24, if I zoom in, I can be a little bit more precise. You can also enter it yourself, but it's a little easier to do it this way. For fuck it, whatever. So again, that's the intro, and you just basically have this little timeline down here. I'm going to right click and put 60 FPS time code so you can see shit in real time by the seconds and milliseconds. From here, I'm going to add in the raw clip, the championship match. I'm going to let this bad boy play out. And just, you can see all where my cursor is, all this dead space. I'm going to actually kind of cut the first 5 seconds right before this little audio bar, which is basically where I start talking. And then I'm going to let this like 6 seconds play out and see if my audio levels are just fine. So let's get right to it and play it as an example. And for whatever reason, this timer always switches to frames, but...
All's fair in bloody murder.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, since I know that I'm immediately talking once the clip starts, I basically, I'm just going to kind of begin with my editing. But I'm not done actually importing. I still have a bunch of files I need to import. One of them is the actual world map in the background. I'm basically gonna import the world map again because this is all video feed, and I'm gonna actually import the image because I'm gonna crop it so that this match 2 championship text is deleted. So I'm gonna have to go to my folders where I keep all these images and whatnot. And I try to have good naming conventions to identify the the sources and whatnot to make it a little bit easier to find them. Because if I name this image FUT I release world map, if I named it to X374986, I'm not going to know what the fuck that is. So having good naming conventions and following a structure makes it very easy going into the future. I'm zooming the timeout line out now, so I can basically drag this image so that it's going to be prevalent through the end of the video, where the video time feed is. And obviously, we're going to have to make some adjustments to this image because it's not going to sit in the dead center. So to make those adjustments, I'm going to actually highlight by clicking on the image itself. It's going to show me video effects I can enable. I'm going to change the scaling of this. And the coordinates that I have are 200 in height, so it's going to hit the very top and bottom of the video feed itself, and then about 257 is basically going to cover the entire thing. Now, obviously, we don't want this entire image to overlap, so we're going to have to do some cropping. And as I mentioned before, that Match 22 championship text, we are going to basically crop out everything except that. So to do that, we'll go to Video Effects. We're going to go to Transform. We're going to drag this crop effect onto the image itself, which is on the timeline. And now you'll see it pops up here. And you can either use your mouse to manually, you could use your mouse to do this. The dimensions for me are going to be 34% from the top, 78% from the bottom, and 78% from the right side of the screen, and then 38% from the bottom. And just to give you a little bit of confirmation, so if I were to hide the video feed in the background, that's basically what we have left. But obviously, as you can tell, in terms of the lighting, to try to match it with the background from since again it's a video feed, it's going to be slightly different in quality. So we're going to have to lower the brightness of it. So in order to do that, we're going to go to our color correction folder and go to brightness and contrast. We'll drag this effect once again onto the image itself, which is on the timeline. You'll see it pop up under the effect controls. And for me, the closest thing probably to matching the colors here is going to go to about -37. So I'm just going to use the little slider to get over there. Because obviously I could go to 100 and you can't see shit, but 37, again, it's not always to a science, but you want to try to make it accurate. And for the most part, even if this is probably a little bit darker than the background feed itself, as you've seen in the videos and whatnot, you'd have all the portraits covering up pretty much the majority of the space. And that's something else we're going to add in too. As you can see, video 3, our third track, we would still have 7 more portraits to add in. So going from here, right click onto video 3, we're going to add tracks. We're going to add 7 more in addition to video 3. Not 8, sorry. We're going to add 7 more tracks in. And basically each of these tracks are going to represent the images that pop up here. There's a lot of work. And a lot of a bulk of the time is actually trying to get everything lined up and in synchronization. So knowing this match, and as I've already done it and I've had these two teams fight each other in the past, I know what the colors of the portraits are. So we're going to go to the project images and media. And fortunately, I have all this for the generic portraits. I extracted all of these for like 20 hours a long time ago. You can see the dates when they were modified, the 19th and shit. I spent like probably 20, 30 hours. So we know I have a female thief where the cursor is. So we're going to look for F thief for female. And then we also know she's in the brown portrait too. Again, with this naming convention, it's a lot easier for me to just find it as opposed to having a bunch of numbers and shit. It's in our little directory right now, but we haven't imported it into the timeline yet. And to make things easy, we're going to import them once I start introducing the units. So we're just going to kind of continue this process now and go for the other units. So in this case, we're going to go for male geomancer. We're going to have to find him. Try to go in alphabetical order. One thing that can also save you time, when you're importing files, like if I wanted to import 2 files, like let's say there's 2 ninjas fighting each other, let's say there are 2 geomancers, I can highlight one, and by holding down Control, I can highlight 2, I can highlight 3, I can highlight whatever images I want. But in this case, we're only going to be bringing in the brown male geomancer, which is what this is. So So it's a little bit of a shortcut than having to, open up one by one. You can just save yourself time if you have multiple units of the same class and same sex, basically. So for now, we're going to go to female mediator. She's going to be in her brown clothing. Again, this naming convention makes it very easy to do this shit. And then we'll basically be editing all those images and doing a lot of work to them to get the transitions to go and whatnot. So for me, we're going to go to female oracle, brown oracle. And then, yeah, so now we're going to go to VCOD's team on bottom here. I know his team is doused in black clothing. So in this case, we're going to go find out male ninja, black male lancer, black male knight. Yeah, blackmail. Yeah, they're gonna blackmail people, all right. So let's find male lancer. Where the fuck are you? You're right here. Yeah, it's a blackmail lancer. So okay, blackmail knight. I can find it. Here we go. And then female summoner. F summoner, black female summoner. Fantastic. So now I'm basically going to import all these images into each image is going to have its own timeline because you can't have them like intermingle. Like they're not going to be able to like overlap each other. So it's easier to just put them on their own timeline. So I'm going to put each unit on the timeline after I basically introduce the unit names for each team member, or each team I should say. Okay. I'm going to wait for me to say the first name of this unit. Let's introduce the units now. We have Your Heart is Mine the Thief. Since I just got done introducing, I'm going to add in the brown female thief and follow this process for the rest of the units themselves. So, Aphrodisiac the Geomancer. Okay. And again, I'm just dragging it to the very end of the timeline because it's going to stay on screen till the video ends. So, Girl with the Gun, the Mediator. Okay. And Poke Me Harder, the Oracle. Okay. And now for VCOD, we have, and just to show you a little bit of confirmation, right above the cursor here, that's the actual portrait, but we're going to be adjusting the size and putting in transition effects right before they go live. And I'll show you, like, it's a little weird because obviously since I'm naming out the unit sequentially, as I zoom in, it's kind of like a stairway effect, right? You can see that it's just kind of like a set of stairs basically, and you just kind of have to mostly do all the edits for that stairs just to get the transitions to work. So, Sekiro the Ninja. All right, so number 5 out of 8. Chariot Dude the Lancer. Now, what's a little bit fortunate is that because I'll show you in just a moment. So, this is where my little playhead is with this red line. Directly right here, this little snap feature. Basically, the image is able to snap to like the ends of clips or like where this little playhead is, so I can basically be precise with where I want this thing to end. Because trying to, not having this on, like if I want to like make sure that this goes away after a certain frame or something, like as you can see, it kind of lines up everything for you. So right where my cursor is, where I'm moving, you can see those little white arrowheads that are going up and down. It shows, hey, your image is in synchronization with all the other ones. They're going to end on the exact same frame, which is a little fortunate. So yeah, again, having this little snap feature, this little magnetic icon on, makes things very easy to assure precision accuracy. So, Arthur the Knight. Okay. Black male knight and then black female summoner. And Snook the Summoner. Okay. The loudness for you guys that are watching this is going to be different than what I'm hearing through my headphones. So as I'm doing audio adjustments and whatnot, it might be a little bit different. That's just something you have to bear in mind, when you're creating shit. So now obviously we have these 8 images and they're all overlapping each other. So we're going to now put the coordinates in, and let me open up Notepad. And you can see here, I basically put in a bunch of notes, the things I mentioned beforehand, the brightness being reduced. I put the cropping dimensions. This is for the world map. And then this is basically for all this right here is just for the portraits, which we're going to do in a moment. X and Y coordinates basically in correspondence to the video itself. So we're going to now begin, and since I know these offhand, I can tell you that the first 4 units, the top team basically, their Y coordinates are going to get changed. The bottom team's X, Y coordinates are fortunately not going to get changed. So you'll just see, right? Again, by using my left hand on the number pad and my right hand on the mouse, I can kind of move this shit around really easily. You see that the female thief blew up an image. Her position is going to be at 38th pixel on the screen, and it's going to be at a height of 250. So the 250th pixel, from the very top of the image. So now we're going to do the rest for the other units too. And again, if I wanted to, I could use the slider, and you can see I'm just adjusting it accordingly with my mouse. But you could also, just like I said, you could just kind of use your mouse and import, do it this way too. It's a little bit faster. And I'll also show you kind of like the uniformity with the positioning too in just a moment. So basically, with this thief being at a X position of 38 and this geomancer at 108, that's a 70 pixel differentiation between the two. And so following that pattern, I'm just going to have a 70 pixel width difference between them so that they're going to be evenly spaced from each other for 100% precision. So in this case, this female mediator that I'm highlighting right now, I'm going to move her 70 more pixels to 178, but she also needs a height of 250. So they're going to be on the same y-axis. But their X coordinates are going to be slightly different. But like I said, it's a lined up feature. So the round oracle now is going to be 70 more pixels from 178. So it's a grand total of 248, 250, and a scale 200. So again, they're all 70 pixels evenly spaced apart, and they're all on the same y-axis. Now conversely, this bottom team, in this case VCOD, his team, their y-coordinates are already at 360, so they don't need to change. It's fortunately just going to be their X coordinates. So 38 for the Ninja, 200, and then we're going to add in the same thing. So 108, 200 for this Lancer, 178 for this Knight, and then it's going to be 248 for the Summoner. Oh, I didn't want 250, goddamn. So yeah, as you can see, all the portraits are now lined up and everything, but we're not done just yet. And again, this is a matter of preference in terms of design. It doesn't have to be done, but I thought it'd be kind of cool to show the contrast between the two teams with them facing each other, not facing the same direction. So I'm going to add in a horizontal flip to the top team. I actually forgot to do it in one of the videos earlier on, but I was like tired of shit, so I didn't really want to do it after I uploaded it. So I'm going to put the horizontal flip function from this transform folder. Now she's basically, what's going on here is that for this image, basically the X coordinate is just like switched around. So like if you think about an XY plane and you have a coordinate of like 6 and 18, pretend it's like -6 and 18. So it's just going to be the exact same thing. That's basically what's going on. They're just switching the X positioning. So, yep. So this is the next thing I do, and as I mentioned before, with all these images kind of lined up because of the way in which I introduce each of them, it's like a stairway effect. So we pretty much, the only thing we have left is actually create the transitions, because like I'll play it really quickly and I'll show you what I mean. You'll just see that these images will instantly pop up after I introduce the units. I want to have a little bit more polished with the transition. So just take a look at these first few. We have Your Heart Is Mine, the Thief, Aphrodisiac, the Geomancer, Girl with the Gun, the Mediator, and A Poke Me Harder, the Oracle. And now for, yeah, you can see it's a little abrupt when they just like instantly pop up like that. So to kind of make it a little bit more smooth, as I introduce each unit, I add in a little video transition effect that's called Cross Dissolve. And again, you can use any of these. Cross Dissolve is kind of like that actual fade in effect for the image, and there's a little bit of a delay. So to polish it up, when you grab the same thing holds true. Instead of having the drag for transitions in particular, you want to put them before the beginning of an image or a source or at the end of it. So in this case right here with this cross dissolve, you can see that this is the number of milliseconds that go by. If I just put in 37, it's going to go to 37 milliseconds. And that's what I've used in previous tournaments. I think that's good enough. Now, one thing you have to bear in mind is every single time you drag this function cross dissolve, you're going to have to actually make sure to click it. And then it'll highlight and you can change the corresponding settings for each one. So again, this is the little stereo effect I'm talking about again, where I'm putting these transitions in. So this is going to be number 3 for 37 milliseconds. Number 4, 37, number 5. Now, there is no like fortunate way for me to be able to like preset all this. I have to do this shit manually with each, with each set of units and whatnot. I can't like, concoct a script that allowed me to make these changes instantaneously or to have it, in this kind of format. I have to do this manually. But, it's a good learning experience when it comes to organization and naming conventions, because again, naming conventions makes it easy to identify, oh, it's that image that I'm fucking with, black male knight, black female summoner, because if they're just a bunch of numbers, you're not going to know what the fuck you have. And then being able to follow a pattern just makes it a little bit easier to detect, especially when you do it 20-40 times. Eventually you'll memorize the coordinates for something repetitive like this. For doing a repetitive function, making 20 matches and whatnot. So let's just kind of go back to the beginning now, and you'll see the transition effects where they'll fade in. I haven't saved any of this because I don't really intend on actually uploading this video that we're editing as we speak. So, is Mine the Thief, Aphrodisiac the Geomancer, Girl with the Gun the Mediator, and a Poke Me Harder the Oracle. And now for VCOD we have Sekiro the Ninja, Chariot Dude the Lancer, Arthur the Knight, and Snook the Summoner. Bahamut forsake you? Yes. Ooh. So, looking at it clearly, the transitions were working, in addition to the fact that all the units for Mirai's team in particular are facing right with the horizontal flip function. The Y coordinates are the same, and then the X, they're all perfectly lined up from each other, again, top and bottom, both teams. So that's how you'd go about making all these edits and whatnot. That's pretty much like the bulk of the editing itself, is just trying to get this like functionality in the beginning to work. And then from here, what I would do is I would actually, I'm not going to explicitly state how, but from here I would basically go out of my way to try to find, how do I say it? I'd basically go find music. I'm not going to show you like what websites or what programs you can use to download YouTube videos to MP3 format, because that'd actually be promoting piracy. But for all intents and purposes, since I already downloaded them for the final video, I'll just go to the Final Fantasy VI images. And it's important to keep your music in the same folders or the same directories, because if you try to load up like a previous project from Adobe Premiere Pro, and like let's say you delete a song from your PC, it's going to say, hey, this song's missing, this file's not here anymore, right? So in this case, you would open up find whatever music you think works best. In this case, we're just going to use the Final Fantasy VI themes, and again, I'm going to use that control function to highlight both of them. I have Caves of Narshe and Dancing Mad, so I have both here now. And from this point on, I basically have the music begin as soon as the round commenced, as soon as the first unit moved, essentially. So we're going to basically wait for like the unit to begin. So I'm at the playhead right now. I'm going to pause it as soon as the first unit's about to move. So yeah, as soon as that text goes away, we're going to see a bloodbath. Here we go. All right, so the knight's turn is up. And then from here, when I made the final video, I went to the Final Fantasy VI theme. And this is something that's important, by the way. And this isn't just true for Adobe Premiere Pro, but this is a lot of editing programs. Do not play this at the base volume. You're going to want to lower this thing by like 20 decibels, because your eardrums will explode if you try to play this at base volume. For whatever reason, MP3s are insanely loud in comparison. So you got to adjust them. And now this is a 20-minute clip right here, I think. No, it's 15 minutes. But since I know that this is a 15-minute clip, I want it to be about 10 minutes. So half of it's going to be one song, half of it's the other. I'm just going to kind of like scroll back on the end of this. So I'm going to let this play out. And again, the relativeness for the volume might be a little bit different on your guys' end compared to mine, since I'm using headphones right now. But yeah, I'm going to let this play out. Oh shit, this is Dancing Mad. God damn it. Yeah, this is the one I used last. So now we're going to go to the mines. And I'm going to have to put on a second audio bar because I'm going to cut this shit out. And I'm also going to enable, not enable, but I'm going to show, displace basically the volume levels. And here's that snap functionality again that's kind of nice, is I'm able to snap it right next to the other volume level. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to bring this up now, and we're going to lower this by 20 decibels. If I feel like it's too quiet, then I could just bump it up a couple. And now, get a moment. Hopefully that Geomancer doesn't go for damage. Oh, wait. Oh, man, we got a 2-man sleep off the bat. Oh, shit. Wait, there might be a Stigma Magic, though. Yep. So, again, it's a little bit difficult. I believe that the audio levels are a little low. And since I can't... So here's the thing that's a little weird, right? When I'm going to scroll into the timeline, when you grab this little yellow bar right here that I'm moving, it's a little semi-invisible. And it shows you the decibel level. There's no way to like be able to pinpoint exactly how many decibels you want to increase or decrease it by. So to circumvent that, you're going to want to, right now I can't get to negative 22. Let's see how loud negative 12 is. Fortunately, there was a zero vertical, so he was able, it's pretty loud. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to audio gain, and instead of actually increasing the volume, I'm going to lower it by about another negative 4 decibels. You know, I kind of just wing it at that point, and if I feel like it's good enough, then I'll just kind of leave it as it is. And as you can see, that the volume from the song just shrunk a little bit, like the actual little waves. That's what they are. They shrunk in size because I lowered the bass volume of the entire clip. I was able to get Stick Magic on both of them. Ampy Switch kept her alive, throwing it up. It's not too bad. I think that's a pretty good point. Now, to make the transitions a little easier from match to match, I think what I did here is when the next set in this match in particular began, I think that's when I had Dancing Mad play. So I'm going to just let this play out. And then I'm going to begin Dancing Mad once the first unit begins. Know how much of a difference it would have made if that Oracle connected. Okay, cool. So I'm going to now drag this Mines of Narsh to the very end of this, and then I'm going to have Dancing Mad begin basically right here. Actually, I'm going to move this a couple seconds away, because I'm going to add in a fade out effect. Up here, audio transitions, crossfade, exponential fade, and I'll put it at the end of this clip right here. So that way, you know, it kind of like, fades out, because the song itself doesn't end here. Yeah. So you can see now, as I put these clips together, it'll fade out into the next song. But I gotta see if I can negative 22. Okay. So we're gonna let this play out these last few seconds. This best of 3 is gonna prevail. Yardo Fort City. Yeah, where you save Rafa from Malak and then the team of ninjas. That's what this map is. You can hear the fade out effect. The song is getting quieter and quieter as time goes on. Yeah, it really just came down to, I don't know how much of a difference it would have made if that Oracle connected with the Race 2 onto the Geomancer, because missing at 81% is immense. Yeah, the audio seems a little bit quiet on my end, so from here what I would do is I would make sure that this is lined up first, and then again I'm going to lower the audio. Actually, I'm going to increase it since I feel it's a little quiet. You know, I'm making numbers up. Well, I'll just throw 2 decibels. And you'll see that the waves themselves are a little bit louder, but again, that's because I have it at a preset of negative 22 decibels. Now it's at negative 20. That is a huge... And you can use the size of the waves right here to kind of determine where the loudest parts are. So like, for example, like right where the playhead is now, this is a quieter section of the song versus this beginning area. So you could use that as a measuring stick as to how loud you think something should be, because obviously other areas are going to be quieter than other parts of the song. Just so she can cast spells. Yep. And a gunshot from all the way down there. Not bad. And even though it's 136 damage, that Geomancer should be able to just throw out a simple X potion. Yep. Well, that probably about wraps it up then. So I'd make one more final, basically crossfade effect. As I'm throwing out my overly, long outro where I throw like a 45-second congratulations, because I think I have a tendency to doing that for like 45 seconds to a minute. I take that long to wrap it up. So from here, I do the same thing. I let the last bit about audio play. You can see that this is the audio from the video feed itself. See you guys around then. Take care. Here, let's play back just a little bit. What they are, but yeah. I'll see you guys around then. Take care. And yeah, and then from that point, I'd basically go about, obviously, when I'm editing this for real, like if my PC crashed or something, I'd be saving multiple times, but it hasn't done that, fortunately. From here, I'd go to export, media, and then from here, I already have a YouTube preset. I'll go to the H.264 codec, and I already saved the preset, so I'm going to go to and show you what it is. So again, this preset is something I already created myself. I'll just show you the dimensions. 60 frames per second, field order is progressive, aspect is square pixels 1.0, NTSC for conventional viewing, not a PAL TV or whatever. The profile is high, the level is 4 for encoding parameters. Now this bitrate, when I recorded these at 5 megabits per second. This is 15. So, and I just want to give you perspective. Right now, it says if I were to encode this, it would be almost 2.6 gigabytes. That's how big this file would be. But if I were to reduce it to 5, which is what I had it originally set at, not 6, 5, goddammit. You can see that it went from a 2.6 gigabyte file to 900 megabytes. So yeah, that's why you want to change the bitrate. Especially, it doesn't make sense to increase the bitrate to something higher than what it actually is. So you don't want to increase it to higher than what the raw file is. So just to get confirmation, the output name right here, if you click it, it'll show you what directory it's going to go under, and you can change the name of it. MP4 is pretty much the best video file you're going to want to use. It's pretty standard. And again, I'm just going to say for the fuck of it. Now, you do have the functionality of being able to export it, and it'll encode the video through this program, Adobe Premiere Pro. But what this Q functionality allows you to do is it'll open up Adobe Media Encoder. And really the only difference between the Media Encoder and Adobe Premiere Pro doing it is that with Media Encoder, like if you were editing, like if you were encoding this, if I click play, it would start encoding this video. And while this video is encoding in this program, if I wanted to work on another project, which is something I took advantage of numerous times, I'd be able to work on like other videos in a Premiere Pro as another video is being encoded in the Media Encoder. So, but yeah, that about wraps it up then. How long has this been? A little bit half an hour, but yeah. And then, it would take maybe, depending on the size of the video and depending how long it is, it could take 20, 30 minutes. And again, I have a GeForce GTX 1080 graphics card. And then I have a Ryzen 8-core processor. I think it's a Ryzen 7 AMD 8-core processor. So I'm able to encode this shit very quickly. It depends on the power of your PC, on how long it takes for that shit to encode. But yeah, I mean, from this point, like I just said, I would go to Media Encoder right here. I would, I'd click this little green button. It would start encoding. And then from there, you would just upload it to YouTube and whatnot. So yeah, that about wraps it up, though. That's how I basically created all of the videos for this tournament. And a lot of it comes down to design choice too. So when I was in OBS, I had the Final Fantasy Tactics logo where the cursor is. I had that. I had to blow up the size. That's a lot of designer's choice stuff, And I decided to blow up the entire video feed right here, so it covered up the majority of the screen. Because I know a lot of people prefer to keep things in like their 4:3 aspect ratio. This, video feed right here, I gotta zoom out so it's actually showing gameplay. This might be a little bit stretched, but that's what a lot of people do to kind of circumvent that 4:3 aspect ratio, is that they'll basically close off like the black borders, like on YouTube, and they'll like throw like an image in the background or whatever. That's how they kind of compensate for it. You'll see that a lot of the times in other streamers' you know, you'll see a lot of other streamers do that. Same as well, like gaming marathons. They'll do that kind of stuff. They'll just cut out all the black borders and kind of polish it up a little bit. So, all right, well, you know what? That about wraps it up. You got to see the magic behind the scenes and how I'm able to create videos and whatnot. And once again, I want to thank everybody, you know, for the love and support for the tournament, and also being able to hit that milestone of 600 subs. You know, I don't know where I'm going to go with this, you know, starting next week or whatever, but I want to keep this momentum going. I have a tendency to kind of feel sorry for myself and shit. So, but yeah, I'm gonna head up now, and I'm gonna get this. You can see it down in the corner, 8:04 p.m. I have to leave in about an hour and a half. I'm gonna get this immediately uploaded to YouTube. So yeah, I will see you guys for our next video tomorrow. Yep. Take care until then.